Just a quick introduction. My name's Tom Whitlock from Oracle, and my role is to work with the NHS trusts in the UK to help solve some of their business challenges. I'd also like to introduce my colleague here, Paul Johnston, who is UK Sales and Marketing Manager at Cubics International. The purpose of this webinar today is to inform and educate. We'd like to demonstrate our understanding of the challenges that you face in the NHS and discuss our proven solution to that. And with that, I'd like to hand over to Paul.
Fabulous. Thank you, Tom. So as you can see, we're going to talk through today our NHS Trust Financial Performance Suite in 20 minutes. So start your stopwatches and let's see if we can get through that content. What we're going to cover, really what we want to do today, as Tom has said, is really treat this as an education opportunity and give us the chance to sort of recognize the challenges that you face and talk in your language and in your terms about what those solutions are, what possibilities there are to address those concerns. And we'll look at it from a problem perspective, from a benefit perspective, and hopefully give you a very clear idea about how to move forward. To start with, I thought it would be interesting to look immediately at a recent project that Cubics has worked on within NHS Trust. Now, this is an organization that came to us, actually, the story just before Christmas. From the point that we first met them to the point that we were actually on site working on their project was actually less than 7 days. Their problems were quite severe. They had a very long delay between accounts being completed and seeing their results. The finance teams themselves basically only were really equipped with Microsoft Excel as a tool to help them analyze and interpret results, and that was a problem. And as a result of that, they really couldn't look at their budgets or scenarios in any way. They were entirely handicapped and limited as to what they could do. And the team that really needed to take ownership of the information, to set direction, to understand trends, just couldn't take ownership of that information and couldn't act accordingly. So our solution, and we'll talk about that in more detail later in the webinar, has provided them with the real-time analysis capability. They can now see those results on demand, as we say on the slide here. They're also able to leverage the tool to conduct as many different scenarios as they need to around their business model and their business plans. They can conduct what-if scenarios and analysis where they weren't able to do that before. And they can continuously adapt and change the model. Essentially, we've, in a space of actually less than 60 days, in fact, much of our work was complete within 30 days. In that short space of time, we were able to transform how the finance department could analyze information, act on information, and implement effective plans to address the concerns that were raised as they got greater visibility. So we've got tremendous experience in these sort of very specific domain areas that you see. I thought this quote and this question should be something that might be something thought-provoking, and that is this. Ask yourself, how can I most profitably spend my time today? And to answer that question, you really need the underlying data and the underlying analytics to make a successful decision. And what separates fabulous companies from average companies, and what separates NHS trusts that are thought leaders and making changes, have been recognized for those changes and being recognized as becoming more effective and more efficient, is how they use data and how they act on that data. And that's really what today is all about. Perhaps you might recognize yourself here. Have a look at this needs assessment. What we're trying to do here is, I hope, outline a set of business problems and a set of challenges that you face. And of course, you could keep score. You could see how you're doing with regard to the issues that we've come across in our time of working with NHS trusts. And by the way, for those of you that are wondering, are you unique? Are we the only trust going through this pain? Am I the only person that can't answer these questions? No. Much of the organizations that we've dealt with and the people that we've met face similar sets of problems. Are you under constant pressure to quickly collate, distribute, publish reports and results, and you have challenges doing that because of the tools that you've been provided? I think many of you would say yes. I won't read every slide. There's a couple of points that I think are very key. For example, spreadsheets. So many organizations that we find are managing around the spreadsheet. They have spreadsheet hell, essentially. They've got a spider's web of spreadsheets and different models and different scenarios. And the problem there is that they're very brittle. And the problem there is that they have multiple owners. And when that owner disappears or goes on sick leave or takes a vacation, sometimes things go sideways. And can you really afford to run your business around a spreadsheet? Yes, the spreadsheet is an important tool, and yes, it still plays a role going forward, but it shouldn't be at the center of the process. Do you find that your business is changing frequently? There's mergers, there's demergers, there's all sorts of changes going on within the trusts, within the NHS Trust. Are you able to respond to those changes? And do you have the tools that you need to really spot trends and variances and act on those in a timely manner? Perhaps not. Many of the trusts that we've dealt with have had those challenges. And again, looking at real costs as being a sort of underlying theme, and we know that many trusts today are looking to automate to the extent that they can, but most importantly, they're looking to drive effectiveness. The sort of mantra of spending to save has been resonating now throughout the government. And I think one of the key areas where strategic advantage can be gained is just having an absolute, transparent, deep and clear understanding of costs. So do you really understand your true costs of delivering a product or service to your customer? Can you easily trace back those costs and understand what are the drivers behind those costs? And perhaps there's something, on the ridiculous side that you just didn't understand as being driving up costs, and without being able to drill down and get to the bottom of that, it's very hard to really see what changes to make.
I think, sorry, Paul, just to interject there. I think that is a great point, and I think the public sector in general is moving towards this transparency with all of its spend. So I think that is definitely prevalent at the moment.
Yeah, I've heard pretty severe government guidelines coming in with regard to publishing any spend above £500. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to understand how you would articulate that to the public? Those are pretty significant challenges. Perhaps you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, well, I'll give you guys the 20 minutes that you've asked for, but really I'm wondering why I need to change. Is it really that broken? Are the issues so tangible that I should do something about them? Well, hopefully this slide resonates with you. To manage, monitor, and implement efficiencies is a big reason to change. For you as financial executives to be able to manage, monitor, and implement efficiencies should be an overriding priority, perhaps. Knowing what people you need, doing what and when. Are you over-resourced or under-resourced? What activities are you doing, and how can you make them more effective? Are you doing the right things at the right time with the right people? In fact, more importantly, are you asking the question of, should we even be doing that? Is that an activity that we could perhaps automate or turn into a service? Knowing outcomes. Are you clear on what the actual outcomes are and whether or not you're achieving your overall objectives? This is a reason to change. And another reason to change is to get that complete insight into the financial costs of every key service and process that you're running. As financial executives today, the pressure to automate, the pressure to make more effective and more efficient is probably at the highest it's been for a long time. By gaining control of the financial data and their relationships and having tools like we're discussing today or solutions like we're discussing today, it will give you the opportunity to analyze and model those scenarios. And with that, you as finance executives will enjoy the following. You'll be able to make more effective decisions. You'll have greater effectiveness in your execution. So what you do and how you do it will be better. You'll have increased transparency and insight into your operations, and you'll be able to automate and make more consistent many of your core processes in areas such as reporting, for example. So perhaps the challenge now is, okay, well look, if I accept, I looked at your self-assessment, Paul, and Oracle and Cubics. I've looked at it, and yeah, okay, some of those things resonate. And I've heard you now sort of articulate why change and to save money and to increase effectiveness. But how? How do I actually go from, okay, I accept the problems, but what's the proposition? What's the path forward? What's the solution? And we know that for many, that's not clear. That for many, there are too many options. There are too many scenarios. So what we've done at Cubics and in partnership with our friends at Oracle is we've developed essentially what we're calling this NHS Trust Financial Performance Suite. So in other words, we've pared down and sort of trimmed to a specific size what we think is an executable deliverable, something that can be delivered to NHS trusts rapidly, cost effectively, demonstrating a proven solution with a clear return on investment. So what is it? If I've got these problems, how do I solve them with the Financial Performance Suite? Well, first of all, let me just give you a quick snapshot, because in 20 minutes we want you to take away as much value as you can. So what it is, it's a pre-configured financial analysis application and a set of fixed services that we deliver at Cubics. So in other words, we've taken a product and we've configured it, customized it so it fits NHS Trust needs in this area, and we've figured out a way to deliver the services around that very efficiently so that this can be scalable, so that many NHS trusts with budget challenges can roll out and implement this solution. And it's been designed in a way that demonstrates clear domain expertise. It takes typically 2 to 4 months to roll out this type of application. We have done it in 30 days, but often the challenges there are internal. In other words, they're NHS Trust readiness, for example, or perhaps dependencies on third parties to get information into the system. But our application being pre-configured, our domain expertise in your field, and our fixed scope deliverable can deliver a project live and working in that 2 to 4 month period. It doesn't take a lot of hardware. Typical 2 fairly robust Windows services is all we need. And the compelling question of how much does it cost? Well, we can deliver a project for £75,000. However, sometimes that cost can be reduced by having the client contribute people to a project. Sometimes that cost can go up by having a client increase the scope or complexity. What we like to recommend is that take our package out of the box, you'll be live in 2 to 4 months, and you won't spend more than 75k. So what is it? Well, the solution is going to deliver a clear set of benefits to you. It's low risk, proven, cost effective, with a clear path to ROI. And I know that sounds a little bit like marketing speak, but it's true. This is a solution that is of low risk. It's been deployed and is proven in its area. And at £75,000, it also demonstrates clear capability to produce an ROI. How you'll justify it is through the improved financial consolidation reporting efficiencies that you're going to have, which is going to enable you to make better, faster decisions. It's going to provide you out-of-the-box forecasting and analysis, giving you the ability to do that scenario planning and what-if scenario planning, which is essential to decision support. It's highly usable. Your finance teams who are used to using a web browser or Excel can use this product straight away. There's limited to absolutely no learning curve. So it's not something that's going to be too complex for user adoption. Finance teams can use it straight away. There are wonderful tools that enable you to drill down into literally line item detail to find out what's driving costs or issues. And the product is so flexible that it will most certainly accommodate the ever-changing NHS Trust situation with mergers, demergers, reorganizations, you name it. We appreciate that that's just a reality. That's a fact of business. It's going to accommodate that. It's going to be able to accommodate that for you. This slide, these are a little bit heavy, the next couple of slides, so I will skip through them quite quickly. I'll give you the ability to read that while I'm talking to you. But fundamentally, there are 3 parts to the solution. Okay, part number 1 is an engine that can munch and analyze data. And it's a very sophisticated engine, and for those of you that were perhaps a bit more technical, it is based on something called Oracle S-Base, which is a world-class proven analytical engine, or what's called an OLAP engine, but we don't need to get into that right now. The point is that there's no set of data challenges that this tool cannot manipulate and answer. That's component number 1. Component number 2 is that kind of graphical view of information that's so important for people to be able to analyze their information. So this is where you'll have the sort of typical drag and drop type graphs and bar charts and visual presentation of information. And by the way, very importantly, you can also see this data in Microsoft Word, in Excel, in PowerPoint, in PDFs, and your usual formats that you would work with. And the third part of it is essentially a financial reporting publishing tool, which enables you to publish these reports that you need to on a scheduled basis in the formats that you need. This again is going to take away a significant amount of time that is normally spent. So there's three parts to the solution: the engine that analyzes information, the presentation of that information in a graphical format, and the publishing of financial reports using essentially a financial reporting and publishing engine. So I know we're running up against the clock here. We want to take some questions, so I'll just spend literally probably not even 2 minutes on Cubics. Cubics has been in the market of providing these types of solutions in the what's called the enterprise performance management space or business intelligence space for many, many years, more than 10 years. And as you can see there, lots and lots of different customers from different industries. I think the point I would take here is that there's no problem that a customer has come to us with that we haven't seen somewhere else before. And our consultants and solution approaches recognized worldwide. In fact, here we go. Look, just 4 simple points. Expertise. We are one of the organizations that Oracle contracts to write their own training material. We're also a member of their advisory boards. So, that speaks volumes to our capability. As we've said, we've done over 100 projects, proven methodology, lots of client references. We like to be competitive. We'll match or better our competitors' rates, and we believe in price transparency and how we publish those. And I think the real X factor is that we've got this business domain expertise. We can sit down with you and talk your language and understand your issues and know what's right for you. And I think that will differentiate us. We're not really looking to sell a technology. We're looking to understand the set of business problems and propose the appropriate solution for the trusts. I appreciate your time. I hope that what we have done is articulate our understanding of the problems and outlined a clear set of solutions for you. But I'll hand you back to Tom.
Thanks for that, Paul. That was brilliant. So if you remember, our objective at the start of this was to basically inform and educate, but also to demonstrate our understanding of the challenges faced within the trusts. Hopefully we've done that today. And what we'd really like is actually for you to click through and request our ebook and schedule a visit with us. Well, thank you all for your time again today. Just to join us, schedule a visit, and we'd love to come and see you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much.